Hello, and welcome to the Love Your Work Life podcast. I'm your host, Elissa Shuck. Whether you're going for that next promotion, looking for a job, or making a career pivot, I'll teach you how to navigate it all so you can have the career you want. This is Love Your Work Life, episode 126. This is part 2 of Truth and Lies. Last week, and if you haven't listened to the episode, I definitely encourage you to do so. Last week, we talked about lies and how when we lie to ourselves, it becomes so easy to break the promises that we've made to ourselves, to break the rules that we set up, maybe the disciplines that we've put in place to achieve the things we want to achieve. And it's painful. It's just as painful when you lie to yourself or break a promise to yourself as it is when someone lies to you or breaks a promise to you. Think about that for a second. You might be ignoring it, but it's doing damage. So I want you to stop lying to yourself and start telling yourself the truth, because it's going to change the game. I love the quote from Brené Brown. Talk to yourself like someone you love. When we talk to the people that we love, we're not lying to them, right? In the moment that we tell them, I believe in you, we believe in them because we love them. It's coming from a place of love. It's coming from a place of purity, integrity about how we feel about that person. That's what I want you to do for you. What would it look like if you talk to yourself like someone you love? Now, of course, before we can tell ourselves the truth, as you learned last week, we need to identify the lies that we're telling ourselves, because that's a deeply embedded thought pattern that we need to uncover so that we can create a new one. It's like redirecting the flow of a river. Not easy, but 100% possible with determined, repetitive action. It can be done. And also last week I talked about using your emotions as your guidance system, so that when you feel bad, you know it's because a thought you had that was a lie. So how do we move from automatic thought patterns and lying to ourselves to being someone that talks to yourself like someone you love? Acknowledging the negative feelings that are uncomfortable, is the first step. Understanding where it's coming from and giving yourself some grace in that situation. So many of the thoughts that we're having on a regular basis, we are not thinking of consciously. Consciously, we're not thinking, I'm a terrible person. Consciously, we're not thinking that I'm not worth it. But when you've had a lot of those words spoken over you and they're buried deep within your psyche, they can get on autopilot. You can actually be repeating those things to yourself and quite unknown to yourself. That's why I kind of want you to dig in the dirt a little bit. There's a Peter Gabriel song, digging in the dirt, finding the places where we got hurt. It's important because until you understand where it's coming from, you have no way of replacing that thought and creating new thought patterns because you're picking the alternative. You're picking a thought that feels better. Now, it may seem odd that I am suggesting that you dig this stuff up, that you become more self-aware, but that's because our tendency is to ignore it, to push down the things that don't feel good instead of figuring out the thoughts that we're thinking that are creating those feelings. Ignoring it might seem like the better choice, but ignoring it doesn't make it go away, right? I think that's something we learned a long time ago and taught all as little kids. Hey, ignoring it doesn't make it go away. That's the power of acknowledging the lie, not to feel bad, but just to allow yourself to be real. Being vulnerable even with yourself. You don't have to be perfect and strong and all the things. You can actually be vulnerable with yourself and decide, okay, I'm feeling this way for a reason. I'm thinking this way for a reason. What could it be? And what is this thought teaching me so that I can change it? Questioning whether a thought is actually true or might this be a lie that I'm telling myself? You're beginning to lean into new, better, and true thoughts. Let's examine a couple that we talked about last week. The lie that I've tried everything. Once you decide that you maybe haven't tried everything and you ask yourself the new question, what might I try this time? Or what could I do differently? You're asking yourself a great question that'll start opening up new ways. And just that alone, just acknowledging that what I'm telling myself might not be true will instantly open up opportunities for new thoughts. But I want you to go deeper into new truths. So once you ask that question, write down some things that you could try. And beyond that, I want you to also think about times when you did try something new. I want you to leverage past successes. I want you to give your brain some evidence that what you're thinking is true. I coach clients on this all the time with interview prep. Just by how they answer the question, tell me about yourself, will give the person you're speaking to the aha moment that they're looking for. The moment of, oh my gosh, they might be the one. And when they have that thought, the rest of the interview, they're looking for evidence that what they're thinking is true. So when you write a new, true statement about you, the truth that it's never too late. We have lots of evidence that it's never too late based on what we see in other people's lives. It's never too late to change directions. It's never too late to write a book. It's never too late to change jobs. You've got lots and lots of evidence all around you that it's never too late. So when you adopt that truth for yourself and say it's never too late to fill in the blank, well, you're giving yourself a truth and you're giving your mind something to focus on, and the thought it's never too late feels good, feels much better than it'll never happen. And that's why feeling good is such a great barometer. It's such a great guidance system because you know you've picked a true thought based on how you feel. So keep working your way into thoughts that make you feel good. Here's the beauty of that, is you can test different thoughts. You're a test case. Be your own guinea pig. Keep trying on different thoughts until you get the feeling that motivates the action that you want, that's following through with the promise that you made to yourself. Powerful stuff. Easy in terms of process. Not so easy because you are going against the grain of some pretty deep thought patterns. But it's 100% worth it. And here's where some more grace comes in. You've spent a lot of years creating those thought patterns, but you can change your paradigms. You can change your thoughts and change your entire life. The hard part isn't that changing your life is hard. The hard part is giving yourself permission. The hard part is accepting the fact that it's actually as easy as that to change your mind in an instant, to focus on something new in an instant. One thing, that one thought that you keep thinking over and over and over again becomes a deep-seated belief, changes everything. What truths do you want to have for yourself? List out all the lies and then write out the truth that's contrary to that lie. And just accept it as truth. It might feel kind of weird and fake at first. I get it. I've been practicing this for a long time. When I write out the thought that doesn't serve me, and I make a decision in that moment that that thought is a lie, and then I make a conscious, intentional decision about a new thought that I want to accept as truth, yeah, it feels a little weird and fake at first. But the more you do it, the easier it gets, and you start creating new patterns. It starts to become automatic that you question the negative thought. It starts to become easier and easier and easier to pick new thoughts. Have a whole list of them for yourself. One for every false thought you're telling yourself. Have that truth thought to counter it and practice those. And my friends, this is something you will have to practice over and over again, and that's okay. Absolutely worth it. Because as you start to practice these new truth-telling statements about yourself, like, I'm perfectly capable, I can figure it out, I've done hard things before, I've always found a way, people see my value. Those kinds of truths, you've got evidence for those in your life. Pick those truths and then allow them to percolate a little bit so that you can feel the feelings that are associated with that truth. Feelings are where your subconscious lives, and the more you can take thoughts in your conscious mind, in your intellect, attach some really awesome feelings with them, then you're changing the paradigm so that you can think those truth thoughts more often, and more importantly, choose them anytime you want to leverage the feeling that motivates the action so that you can keep your promises to yourself. you can show up for yourself, make the career move, lead the team to new heights, achieve a personal goal that you've had on your mind for a long time. All right, my friend, start telling yourself the truth. I'll talk to you again soon. If you like this podcast, I invite you to visit the Love Your Work Life website at elissashuck-careercoach.com. On the site, you'll find all the information you need to work with me one-on-one, as well as get access to my courses, Job Search Field Guide, and The Art of Stellar Interviews. I can't wait to help. I look forward to seeing you there.